I'm horrified by this case. And the more I look at it, the more I think the case is getting stronger by the day against Diddy for sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are the claims against him. I do not predict he's definitely going to get convicted, but I'm more and more believing it's likely. And that's because watching, for example, the cross-examination of the star witness has been, I think, kind of underwhelming. I thought that they'd have more, and I thought that they'd be a little bit more skilled, but instead they seem to be all over the board, the defense counsel, on trying to just score points with her. And they're clearly, I get it, trying to prove that she consented to some of this behavior. Okay? You need to prove that she consented to all of it. That's the truth. I mean, more accurately stated, the prosecution needs to prove that there were at least some of these sexual encounters, so-called freak-offs, that were not consensual on her part. And I think they're doing it, I have to tell you. So let's just take a step back, okay? Because what's interesting about this case, and the reason we're all paying such close attention, is because this is one of the most famous men in the world. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever, is one of the biggest celebrities in America, in the world. And his star was on the rise. He formed Bad Boy Records. Of course, he was very famous for his relationship with J-Lo and being involved in shooting a woman in the face. He allegedly had another person take the fall for him. The woman who got shot in the face says, it was Sean Combs. I saw him, and that he paid this other guy to take the fall for him and actually serve time for him. That's not at issue in this case. I'm just saying he's been infamous for a long time. And we've seen him at the award shows, behaving badly and being a bully and just kind of a douchebag. And we knew that he was a douchebag. I knew he was a douchebag. In my opinion, that's what he was. But it's so far beyond that. This is just so far beyond that. This is not the Johnny Depp case, guys. This is not like, you got this controversial guy and this lunatic woman and, she's trying to make a buck off of him, or she's not taking responsibility for her piece of it. This is not that. It's also not Epstein or R. Kelly, where you're talking about underage girls. The women involved in P. Diddy's web were of age. They are adults, but that doesn't mean they're incapable of being sex trafficked in the meaning of the law, or part of what essentially amounted to a criminal conspiracy of control and coercion over them. And that's really at heart what the government is alleging against this guy. But P. Diddy's apex of his fame almost was right when he was brought down. I mean, the news reports about him talk about how in 2023, he'd been nominated, I think, for his first solo Grammy, Artist of the Year, whatever it was. So, like, he was moving up in the awards ceremony world. He was getting more and more recognition. He was releasing an album, and he was sort of everywhere in the media. And he knew everyone. Remember that video of him going through the names of the people who came to his parties? It was a who's who of the Oscars and the Grammy Awards. I think I should have said Grammys, not Emmys. That's TV. And he was extremely well connected. Ashton Kutcher at all of his parties, and Oprah, of course. Okay, he's the one who listed her as coming to his 50th birthday party. Everyone wanted to be near him. His extreme wealth and his infamous party life. We had seen these videos of Justin Bieber being handed over to him at age 15. Great job. And for his Weekend with Diddy camp. I mean, we don't know, but it certainly looks like Justin Bieber is still suffering the fallout from whatever happened to him as he was coming up the ranks of the music world. It really doesn't seem worth it. I mean, I'd love to hear more from his camp about what's real, because it's clear he's suffering. We just don't know from what. And what mother out there would give her 15-year-old boy over to a grown man who's in the rap industry for a Weekend with Diddy camp without other adult supervision? That's insane. Then there was Usher going on with Howard Stern, talking about how he was living with Diddy for almost a year and how he would never let his young sons at his age then go and do that kind of a thing. Like these are guys who are indebted to Diddy professionally, saying, this is Usher at least saying, this is insane. I believe this guy has been abusing people severely for a long, long time. And I don't think the government's wrong that he behaved like a mob boss, like the rules did not apply to him. And let's face it, they didn't seem to. Where were like the repeated police interventions on his behavior? He was too rich. He was too connected. He was too powerful. Look how the government opened its case here. And by the way, before I get to that, so he's, reaming back up to the apex of his fame in 2023. And that's when his ex-girlfriend of 11 years, Cassie Ventura, dropped her civil suit against him. And it was settled within 24 hours for $20 million. And that's really what got people interested. Then more and more started to come forward. Some were just money grabs because they're like, shit, if she can get paid, maybe I can get paid. And some were probably much more serious than that. Some of the more serious ones have withstood motions to dismiss or are in civil litigation right now. So she brings that case and the feds get interested. And before we know it, there's a federal raid on his homes and Bob's your uncle. We're in criminal court. But, Diddy was behaving with impunity for a long, long time. And the way the government opened its case kind of proved how he operated. Their first witness was not Cassie or another alleged sex trafficking victim of his or a sex worker. It was an LAPD guy who had been, prior to joining the LAPD, working security at the Hotel Intercontinental out in LA, and was there when that terrible beating we all saw on camera took place. That security guard was the one who got called and who went up to see what the hell was going on. Here's the tape for those of you who have forgotten. He's walking down the hall. Sorry, she's walking down the hall. Stand by. Now he's coming in a towel, running after her. She's trying to get in the elevator. He grabs her by the head. He whips her down to the floor. He kicks her in the head. She's down. She stays down. She's testified. He kicks her again. She testifies she stayed down because she thought it would minimize her injuries. And he's literally dragging her down the hallway and back into the hotel room. There are a number of reasons the prosecution started with that. And with this witness, who is a third party, not alleged to be a victim of Diddy's, not a friend of Diddy's, not a friend of Cassie's, not a sex worker, no one directly involved in this case. This is an LAPD guy who said not only was he there and saw the visible injuries on Cassie, but said that Diddy offered him a bribe. He offered him $100,000 wrapped in a wad. First of all, who the hell's walking around with $100,000 cash on them? Wrapped in a wad, and that he declined it. And he was smart enough to take out his cell phone and videotape the videotape that was on the security cameras. He was going home for the weekend, and he was very wise to do it because he said when he came back on Monday, the hotel tape had disappeared. And the testimony was that Diddy did find some security agent willing to delete it. This July, speaking of resets, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio. This bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of dollars in your savings. While this transition will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.